Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to online classes of Iqra Ufaz by secondary schools and colleges, our project of Iqra education system. My dear brothers, in the last video lecture, we discussed about the keywords and their meanings used in this chapter number 5, a visit. I hope you have gone through these words and their meanings so that when I'm explaining you this chapter, you should have no problem in understanding such words which may be new to you or you are unfamiliar with. Let's start the summary of this chapter number 5, a visit. But before explaining you this chapter, I would like to do some model reading of a couple of paragraphs. You people should listen to me carefully and try to understand and observe the pronunciation and intonation of my reading. Starting from first paragraph of a visit. Mr. Ahmed's class had been planning a picnic for some time. The headmaster had allowed them a day's outing and they were to go by the school bus. They were naturally very excited. Mr. Ahmed arranged the visit to a farm with Mr. Hassan, the manager of the model agricultural farm. Paragraph number 2. It was a pleasant day in April when Mr. Ahmed and his class reached the model farm. Mr. Hassan received them at the gate and showed them around. The boys had no idea that an agricultural farm could be so large and interesting. It was a wheat harvesting season. The party saw a huge machine called the combine working in the vast wheat fields. It cut the crop and tied it into sheaves. With one sweep, it seemed to eat up a large area of the golden crop, which came out tied into a bundle at the other end. The wheat then went into thresher, which separated the grain from the chaff. From one end of the machine fell a golden rain of sweet-smelling wheat, while chaff flew out at the other. The students watched the working of the machine with keen interest. Mr. Hassan said, "The whole process of plowing, seeding, harvesting and threshing the corn is done with machines on our farm. One man working with this machine can do as much work as 100 men working without it." Bilal, one of the students: "Sir, do you get bigger crops in this way?" Mr. Hassan: "Oh, much bigger. While an average farm produces 15 to 20 quintals of wheat for every hectare, we produce as much as 60 to 70 quintals. Let's start the summary and explanation of this chapter paragraph by paragraph. Paragraph number 1. This paragraph says that Mr. Ahmed, who was the teacher of a class, he decided to have a picnic with his students. So they planned the picnic and then they took permission from the headmaster. Headmaster allowed them for one day outing and they decided to go to that place or spot by school bus. Obviously, when people go for outing, especially students like you, they become so excited, they become so happy that they are going out, that too with friends. The same was the case with the students of the class, and Mr. Ahmed also had already talked to Mr. Hassan, who was the manager of a model agricultural farm, that they were coming to visit that farm. Paragraph number 2. It was a very pleasant day. The weather was very congenial. It was very pleasant in the month of April when Mr. Ahmed and his class reached the model farm. Mr. Hassan, the manager of the model agricultural farm, was already present there to receive them at the gate, and then he took them on the visit of the farm. The boys of the class had never visited any agricultural farm before. They found it so large and interesting, and as in the month of April it was the wheat harvesting season. That wheat was grown on the farm. The whole class saw a huge machine which was called combine. That machine was working in the vast field of wheat. It was cutting the crop and tying it into sheaves, into bundles. And with one sweep, it looked as if that a large portion of golden crop was getting into the machine, and bundle at the other end was coming out. The wheat then went into thresher. Thresher is also a machine whose work was to separate the grain from the chaff. So they saw that from one end of the machine called thresher, golden weight of sweet smelling wheat was coming out, while chaff, or you may call it in simple words, the peel of the grain, was flying in the air and getting separated from the golden grain of sweet smelling wheat. All the students observed the working of the machine with keen interest. Mr. Hassan, who was the manager of the model agricultural farm, said to the boys, the whole process of plowing, seeding, harvesting and threshing, which means separating the grain from the chaff, is done with these machines on our farm, which means that he said that the whole farm was based upon model machines or modern machines. And he further said that if one person works on this machine, so he does as much work as 100 men working without this machine. Paragraph number 3. A student named Bilal asked the manager, Mr. Hassan, "Sir, do you get bigger crops in this way?" Bilal meant to ask that whether with the help of these machines they get more crops. Mr. Hassan replied, "Oh yes, much bigger. It means so much more than the ordinary farm," because he said that the ordinary farm produces 15 to 20 quintals of wheat for every hectare. And quintals we have discussed, quintals means 100 kilogram. 1 quintal is equal to 100 kilogram, which means 15 quintal means 1500 kilograms. So if an ordinary farm produces 1500 kilogram wheat for every hectare, this farm with the help of machines produce as much as 6000, which means 6000 to 7000 kilograms of wheat per hectare. So you can see there is a huge difference between an ordinary farmhouse and a model farmhouse. An ordinary farm produces 1500 to 2000 kilograms of wheat every hectare. So 2000 wheat or kilogram of wheat every hectare is way less than 6000 to 7000 kilograms of wheat per hectare. So you can imagine the difference between an ordinary farm and a model farm. On which Bilal responded that this is wonderful, but surely machines do not make the grains. It means he said that machines do whole process of separating, plowing, seeding, harvesting and threshing the corn, but it does not produce grain itself. Mr. Hassan said while laughing, of course not. Grains are not made by machines. Grains are grown naturally. But what in fact happens is that the first machine called tractor, and you people may have seen the tractor. Tractors plow deeper. It means tractors put the seed into the soil, and then these people prepare the land for sowing much faster. The sowing machine puts the seed into soil very fast and no seed goes waste. It means the wastage of the seed is no mean there. Then he said that they also select the best seed They purchase the best seeds and then they do the seeding of that seed, and out of which the result is that they get much quality product, which means much quality grain. Then they use chemical fertilizer. You know, fertilizer is a chemical substance which is used to increase the production of the crop. So they use chemical fertilizer to enrich the soil. And they also get a lot of canal water, but we also irrigate. He said that they also irrigate their fields with their own tube well. They already have a tube well set up there which provides them water in much larger quantity. Then they supply the water all year round. It means they have no scarcity, no lack of water, no shortage of water. Finally, they also spread insecticide. Insecticide is the medicine used to kill the pest, the destructive insects that destroy the crops. So they spray insecticides to kill such germs and harmful insects. So their farm produces 3 to 4 times as much wheat per hectare as an ordinary farm does, as we have already discussed this in the last paragraph. Another student, Sarosh, asked, do you grow only wheat? She wanted to ask that if there is only the production of wheat on the farm. Mr. Hassan said no, they grow some other things like wheat, maize, cotton, sugarcane and gram. Moreover, they also grow vegetables and fruits. They have a large orchard where they grow vegetables and fruits. Then the party was taken to the vegetable farm. All the boys, the whole class, all the visitors were surprised to see such vegetables which were out of season. For example, you people must know that some certain vegetables and fruits are grown in some specific seasons. There are a couple of fruits and vegetables which are grown all year round. For example, the fruit banana comes all the 12 months of the year, same as potato, tomato. These vegetables also come all year round. But there are some specific fruits and vegetables, for example, oranges only come in the winter season, mangoes only come in summer season, so on and so forth. But when these boys saw all the fruits growing on the farm out of season, they were surprised. They had never even expected, they had never imagined that such fruits and vegetables can also be grown in all seasons, all year round. Mr. Hassan explained them that they use some chemical fertilizers, and with a lot of supply of water and with the help of machinery, they can grow finer and better vegetables in all seasons and in larger quantities. He also offered the boys fresh tomatoes and cucumbers. They were very tasty, very delicious in taste. These vegetables were washed in running water and the boys ate them with great delight. By the time they had visited different places on the farm, it was afternoon and they felt hungry. So Mr. Hassan offered them a great feast in the form of lunch, prepared mainly from the farm's own produce. Means the vegetable already growing on the farm were used to cook and they were presented to them in the lunch. Later the students visited mango orchard and they were very happy to see green fruit hanging from the branches in large numbers. So many mangoes were there hanging from the trees, from the branches, and the trunks of these trees had been whitewashed with lime and the ground below was neat and clean. You know, when there are some fruits on the trees, different insects and different animals on the farm come to eat them and they destroyed the crop. So this is why they had already whitewashed the trees with lime water so that no animal, no insect can come near, and the place near around the trees was also very neat and clean. They had done cleaning, and they had kept it very clean and neat so that no animal, no insect could come near to it. The boys also did not see any weed, any wild plant or wild grass growing around these trees. So Mr. Hassan told them that it was necessary to protect them from pests, from insects and diseases which destroy the plants as well as the fruits. So they had kept it very neat and clean. Mr. Hassan also told the visitors that the farm had been doing so well that they had decided to add a dairy to it. You know, whenever a businessman is successful in doing some business, he always tries to expand his business. So did the owner of this farm decide. So Mr. Hassan, the manager, told that they are thinking of expanding their business by adding dairy to it. And you know what dairy is? Dairy means milk or milk products. They had decided to add up a dairy to their farm so that there would be more products, and he said that they would bring good quality cows and buffaloes on the farm for the production of dairy. He also surprised the visitors by telling that farm would use an electric milker to milk the animals. Here I would like to tell you, my dear students, electric milker is already used in Australian dairy farms and in European dairy farms. It has been recently introduced in Pakistan to milk the cows or the animals. What it does actually, this is the whole process that the animals or the cows go through a certain machine where they are cleaned, their udders are cleaned, and then they reach to a spot where the electric milkers milk the animals automatically. So there is no human input for that particular process. And in this way, they can cut down the need of the labor. Modern machinery is used to make cream and butter and preserve the milk to make the milk products. Mr. Hassan promised and invited Mr. Ahmed and his class that when the dairy started working, they could come to visit this farm. Mr. Ahmed and his class thanked him for this invitation, and the boys were really very happy with this visit and cheered loudly when they left the farm. This visit benefited them with the experience of looking at the things from the different perspective. Plus, they got the knowledge of how things are produced on the farm. While coming back from this visit, all the boys were talking about this visit. They were very happy. Bilal said, "We need to establish many such farms throughout the country." Mr. Ahmed agreed with him and said, "Yes, you are right. In this way, we would be able to meet the needs of ever-growing population of our country." By this, he meant that if government takes some immediate measures and sets up or establishes such farms throughout the country in all the cities of Pakistan, there would be much more production and there would be no shortage of vegetables and fruits. And in this way, people of Pakistan can get the products whole year round. My dear brothers, I hope you people have been able to understand this whole chapter, A Visit. You people have already gone through the keywords and their meanings, and now we have gone through the summary and explanation of this chapter. You must go through this chapter on your own once, make the title page in your registers, write down the keywords and their meanings. We will meet again in the next video lecture with the textual exercises to do. Till then, take very good care of yourselves. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.